Hello, everyone. Welcome to Shamanic Learning. My name is Eleni.
I'm Tina.
And we are shamanic practitioners. We work together teaching different modalities, especially shamanic healing work. And we are also avid dreamers, and we just love discussing dream themes, dream work, and also the art of healing through dreams. So today we're just going to chit chat about some of the ways that we have used dream work to heal, to process, and to grow. And yeah, so let's get into it. So Tina, I do have a question for you, which is, when did you start remembering your dreams?
I don't remember not remembering my dream. I had,
Okay.
there's a dream that I still remember all the details of from when I was 6 years old. And I remember my mom and my sister and I all sitting around and talking about our dreams from a very young age. Um, and they were always very vivid. Often when I was a child, I had nightmares, so they were also ugly. Um, but yeah, I've always been a dreamer, like an
Mhm.
avid dreamer. Um, with probably the exception of my insomnia years where I didn't do a lot of REM sleep, so there wasn't a lot of dreaming. But um, yeah,
Yeah.
what about you?
Same. I've always been a dreamer. I have dreams that I still remember from when I was young, and obviously I have, like, I'll be prompted sometimes if I go back to like this space, like my grandparents' house or my parents' house. I will be prompted, almost kind of like deja vu of where I've had those dreams. I feel like I dream almost every night. There's sometimes I have like a short spell of dream drought, and then I'm like, what is going on? But I also think sometimes our psyche is just like taking a break from all the deep storytelling and healing and all the things. So that's another thing is I feel like dream drought is very real, and that's definitely like something that people go through uh regularly.
Yeah, even in my dream journal, if I don't remember my dream, I write. I don't remember my dreams from last night. But if I don't remember dreaming, then I write. I don't remember dreaming last night. Because
Mhm.
there's a big distinction between
Yeah,
knowing you had a dream and just not remembering the details, and not knowing you dreamt at all. Like,
right.
that's so I do keep track of that in my dream journal.
And I think when you talked about like the REM cycles, I think that's important too, because physiologically, if the sleep cycles are really off or your circadian rhythm is really messed up, then like not accessing a lot of REM sleep will obviously affect your ability to dream. Or, I mean, that's where you dream. So, yeah. Um, so do you feel like you have any recurring themes in your dreams?
I definitely have recurring symbols, which I'm assuming are recurring themes. I dream about dogs pretty regularly, whether they're dogs I've had or not had, or dogs that are in my current possession of foster. Though I haven't dreamt about foster dogs recently, but there's at least once a night I dream about dogs when or there are dogs at play, right, in some way, shape, or form in my dreams. Um, and water is probably the other one that like stands out for me. I have a lot of drowning dreams. I have a lot of
Mm.
swimming and floating dreams. Um, even like rain and those kinds of things. So water definitely plays a role. Um, and it's interesting when you even start talking about that because there's different um, interpretations of water, right?
Mhm.
Yes, it could be some emotional processing. It could be a fear that's, being dealt with. There's a lot of possibilities. So that's why I love the dream work that we do, where we can get into, what it really does mean. So
Yeah.
what about you? I know
Same.
you have regular themes because we've talked about it in the past. Anything you want to share?
Yeah, so I will have certain ancestral dreams. My ancestors will show up as these certain creatures to me, and they'll kind of show me like when it's time to be fed, if that makes sense. And in the dreams, I'm like feeding them. Like literally I'm feeding them. Um, and I also have like sometimes dream characters come and they like show up a couple times, or again like the landscapes. I'll dream of a space and then I'll go back there. And it's interesting because it's just a slight kilter off maybe of like a house that I've been to in the waking world. It's similar, but it's not quite the same, you know? And it feels like deja vu sometimes when you have those dreams, those recurring landscapes as well. And I think that's an important note when people are kind of capturing their dreams and writing out the storylines is what are the liminal landscapes that are presenting themselves to you? Because I think sometimes when we do experience deja vu, sometimes it's because we've been there like in the dream world already, you know? Yeah. So, when you feel like you have dream drought sometimes, what do you, how do you kind of like help yourself get back into your dream spells?
Yeah, I mean, sleep hygiene is super important.
Yeah.
Um, there's a whole laundry list that, of things that you can do. But me, I'm a big fan of crystals,
Hmm.
therapist, so I will usually grab a crystal. Um, and I would love to tell you that, oh, I use these 5 crystals, and I may, but what works for me is going to be different than works for you. Um, but for me, it's often something that is either grounding or clearing or calming. Like those are the kind of the three that I tend to go for. Um, but it really depends on my purpose. But yeah, crystals definitely are my go-to. Um, but there are definitely some techniques about um, things you can do to reignite dreaming if you feel like you're dream drowning. I like that term, by the way. So yeah, but I mean, for me, it's usually grab a crystal. What do you do when you find
I freak out for a second because I'm like, what the heck? I don't like it because like even though my dreams can be edgy sometimes or just a lot and overwhelming with content and just detail, I do have somewhat of an attachment to my dreams because I wake up and I'm sort of like, ooh, the juiciness, you know? So the dream drama. And I think when I feel like I don't have access to that, I will kind of like ask the question, what's going on? But usually within like a week, if I have a dream drought, I will start dreaming again. So I don't have like any ritual practice besides asking what's going on. Yeah,
and having the intention of dreaming.
exactly.
Don't
Exactly.
when you're like in your routine of going to bed,
Yeah.
have set that intention. I'm going to have dreams tonight. I'm going to remember them in the morning, right? Like that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And I feel like there's so many different theories about what dreams are, you know? So from a spiritual standpoint and a shamanic standpoint, yes, we are moving through the realms of our psyche and doing like emotional deep work. And we're also receiving support from the unseen realm, whether that be the helping spirits or our ancestral spirits that are healed and whole. There's a lot of conversation and things going on beyond like just, you know, waking up and being like, this was all just me, you know. And I think there's some theories like that, and I don't knock those theories. I just think it's helpful to understand, like if you have a spiritual practice, that we are engaging with the unseen realm as well. And it's actually way easier for us to access those realms in that dream space because we're not, our ego mind is not really online.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's why dream work is so important. And for those of us with a spiritual practice, our practice doesn't end because we sleep.
Hmm.
So we continue
Right.
on with the healing and with the information and whether it's for yourself or a client or, whatever, that continues on in your sleep.
Yes.
It's just often a little less taxing. So,
Yeah, and I think you can like incubate dreams, so you can like have those intentions for what you want to do, what you want to heal, what you want to know about. And I think what's important is even if you wake up and you don't understand what the symbology was, is to still track it so that if you have a dream circle or if you have a meditation or shamanic practice, you can go get that information, especially if it's really gripping you and you feel like you can't let it go. Because I
yeah,
feel like I have dreams like that where they grip me and I'm like, oh my God, if I don't deal with this dream, like it's gonna kind of like haunt me.
you have recurring dreams?
Like it's more like either the character or or the landscape instead of like a recurring like keep going back into one.
Yeah, so I do often have recurring dreams. What
Mm-hmm.
I find with mine, first of all, I'm a lucid dreamer. I have the ability to be a lucid dreamer. So when I catch myself dreaming, especially if it's a bad dream, I have the ability to flip that. And
Yeah.
when I'm recurring, I find myself changing the dream just enough each time.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's the healing work, right? You're
Yeah.
figuring out the problem and you're changing it. It's kind of like Groundhog Day. And so I could have the same dream 5 days in a row, but I've tweaked it enough that by the end, I've, done the healing work or I have the message that I really needed.
Yeah.
So, that's all common is the recurring dream, which is to me, the universe going, you really, really, really need to work on this. Like,
Yeah, and then changing the narrative.
yeah, exactly.
I noticed that I become lucid mainly when like the dream becomes edgy and dangerous is when I kick in like the lucidity and that's when I can start like manipulating the things. But I don't lucid dream that often.
I
And I
do.
do remember lucid dreaming once where I was like, okay, I'm dreaming and I'm floating around my house. Like I'm gonna try some things. And I just like went ham. I was like, I was like driving a car. I was like doing all these things where it was kind of crazy. But yeah, I think lucid dreaming is like its own skill and there's techniques for people to kind of learn that if they're interested in that. Yeah. But anyway, so would you like to share with our friends what we got coming up?
Yes, we are facilitating a shamanic dreaming class, if you will, a circle. What are we calling it? um,
Yeah.
it's going to be every Tuesday night in February of 2026. So that's when we're doing this. Um, so we are going to be diving deep into the dream world. We're going to talk about all deeper into some of the things we've talked about today. But we're also going to teach and facilitate journeying into your own dreams and somebody else's. So it's going to be fabulous and exciting. The registration link is available on rivermedicine.com and probably
In the
below,
link, yeah.
the link below. Um, and we would absolutely love to see you there and teach you about dreaming and learn from you. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful situation.
And if you don't remember your dreams, we encourage you to come because we will be teaching some prompts on how to start remembering your dreams. And there's so much information you can actually get from just a sensory experience, whether that's a feeling or, a temperature, a color, a taste that you wake up with. You can actually get so much information just from a single prompt like that. And when you start doing that over and over is when that starts prompting your psyche to start actually remembering more of the experience. So Yeah, so thank you guys. And you can find out more information in the description below or go to my website, rivermedicinehealing.com. And we'll see you again soon.
Yes.